Ask the streets. Ask the streets. Ask the streets.
I like that one.
I've been going through some shit, I need some time away. Had to run them bands up, it wasn't no time to play. Whoever said money make you happy these days was lying, man, cause I ain't smiled in 4 days. Flaming up this blunt, I thank the Lord for the day. Forgive me for my sins and take the pain away. Forgive me for my sins and take the pain away. Lord, forgive me for my sins. Amen. Guns out. Amen. We will not be running out again. Told my homies from the start that this shit will never end. I'ma keep on doing this shit, even if I never win. Back when I ain't even had shit, they hated on me then. Bitches seeing cash on me, yeah, they on the kid. Everybody wanna know how another nigga live. They would focus on that dope, they would probably get some M's. And I'ma keep on doing this shit, even if I never win.
But you know, I was thinking about this video you had sent me about the languages and the metaphysics and things of that nature. Right. And what I want to say about that and just touch on that a little bit is that
Brother Solus. Let me go into that and tell her what the Brother Solus had made a video, and he was saying how the language is the curse. We can't get out of it because we thinking from this language.
Right.
And we thinking from the perspective of this language. And that hit me kind of hard. Like, man, that is the people who defined this made the light. So that's how they took over the world easily. You know what I mean? Because basically, this means this now. And,
right.
And if everybody agreed to that, like, okay, because this is their language. You know what I mean? So, you know, the indigenous tongue is gone. You know what I mean? So you know, that's why we thinking the way we thinking, I guess.
If you think about language, man, you know what I'm saying, in the sense words, language in the sense is just to communicate. You know what I'm saying? We use words and things of that nature to communicate with each other. But you know, it's a positive and negative to languages. You know what I'm saying? That's why we use words like when they say spelling, a spell. You know what I'm saying? So a person can definitely understand the language and use the language to his advantage, and basically have you thinking that this word mean this and how you following that. You know what I mean? So even with the metaphysics with the language, you know, it's the most languages encoded. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's almost like to an extent that you always have to learn this or be initiated. You know what I'm saying? So the basic language on the basic principle of things is already coded. So a person who has this understanding, he can easily use this to his advantage and have you following him. You know what I mean? Just based off of using words and languages.
So what you mean by coded though?
Well, like it's almost like saying when you use language or when you use communication skills, you have levels to it. You know what I'm saying? You have the basic level and then you have the advanced level. Okay. Well, certain words, I'm trying to think of a word that I can kind of like break down. Like, you know how in the English language we can say fast, we can say quick, we can say whatever, speed, you know what I'm saying? All these three words are like synonyms, you know what I'm saying? But they all have similar meaning. They don't actually mean the same exact thing, but they have similar meanings, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, like, a person could really understand how to use these words to his advantage and basically put a spell on you and have you following it, you know what I'm saying, to a certain degree.
That's what's up. And it's hard to talk to people about that because they don't. I mean, it's a conversation that people don't even really focus on.
Yeah. And
I'm like, the way we think is based on the way we understand things. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, it works together. That's how I see it. It just works together.
Exactly. Well, language and the way we speak in a sense is a belief system. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, we taught as a child to speak the English language in a sense. You know what I'm saying? We learned this to communicate this way.
That's us in America.
Yeah, in America, yeah. And the thing with that is, like I say, we just learned it on a basic level. And when you deal with somebody that's real good at understanding how to use the spelling and these spells, then yeah, you can't deal with somebody that could definitely use words. Like, it's like when you running game on a chick, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you trying to holler at a female, you smooth with the words, you ain't really being truthful with the words, you know what I'm saying? Because you just running game on it. You like, yeah, let me go out the bell. you understand what you're doing, but the shorty don't understand what you're doing. So in that sense, you just put a spell on her because you just used some words that she couldn't read in between the lines on. You know what I mean?
They say the English language is the hardest language to learn.
I don't know. You know, it could be. I do know that, you know, the English language from my studies, you know what I'm saying, on languages in a sense, the word that we use are like, I'm trying to, like, how could I explain it? Like me and you was talking before with like how we could say earth, and then you could just take the H off of earth and put it in front of earth and you got heart. You know what I mean? And those are frequencies. Those are vibrations. You know what I mean? And like I say, people who understand that can definitely.
And so that's to say. That's what I'm saying. So this is where it was leading to, right, with the whole conversation about language. It's vibrations. And vibrations is supposed to be something deep, metaphysical. It's supposed to be something metaphysical about these vibrations, right? Because like they say in the beginning, the word was the first, was the creating.
God said. God said, let there be light.
Let there be. So the word was what the word was creation.
And
the word was creating, basically.
Right.
Something, right? And so everything fitting is based on. So even if you're saying, okay, so if we say it like. Oh man, I think I
know where you're going. I think I know.
Even if you say something and it don't mean the same thing right now because the words changed, the meanings, the tone is still there. The tone is still what the creative force about.
Right. I think what you saying, you know what I think I'm getting.
I'm not saying it, but
right. What I think is like manifestation is what I think. You know, for here there. Like if you say, I like that girl, or you know what I'm saying, or I like that music, or I like whatever. You speaking these words and you putting these thoughts and these things out there into the universe. So then therefore these words can manifest, or these thoughts can manifest. You know what I mean? So again, that's an advanced level of how people use communication. They understand how when you read the Bible in the sense where it says God said let there be light, and there was light. It came to be. So they understand, you know, on the higher level, in the metaphysical level, that we can speak things into our existence. You know, we have the power in communicating with these vibrations, or with these frequencies, or with these energies, or whatever you want to call it, and we can manifest with our language. And that's, again, when you talk about the deception part of it, they know that, you know what I'm saying, they understand that they could speak words and use words to manipulate certain things and use that as a power, you know what I mean. So that, in the sense that language is used to be can be deceptive.
And so when you talk about like the ancient people who use symbols, instead of speaking, they more so. Was that a more powerful way of communicating? Well,
that's a good question. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, like I said, I got a child. Like, you know, most people know, I put it out there, that's on the autism spectrum, and he doesn't speak, but he uses symbols to communicate with us. And man, it's powerful as far as how the symbols is and how you communicate with somebody that really can't communicate back with you, as far as in the talking, on the speaking or the language level. So the symbols definitely, I do believe, had to have more power to them. But then again, though, it still has a positive and a negative to it, because people can use the symbols and still deceive you. You know what I'm saying? And they can still flip it on you. Like, yeah, see, this say this, or this mean this, and that ain't.
That's only if you're talking.
Right, that's only if you. That's true too, though. Right, exactly.
That's only if you use because the symbol is what you see it through.
So basically, it's like the power of the mind when you're dealing with symbols.
You a different way.
That's a good point.
So you know,
right? That's a good point.
That's a good point. But that's why the argument about the meta
okay,
is a valid argument, saying it hadn't been translated, because those symbols. I mean, when you look at them, either you're gonna come up with a conclusion that's to say this look like it means this. And that's what the hell it means, or it, you know what I mean? Right, or we just really don't know, because you ain't heard it being said.
I was about to say that's like saying if you weren't there, you really don't know.
You really don't know.
So that goes with, see me, man, I have a different philosophy now as far as how I look at ancient things. You know what I mean? I know the ancient stuff existed. I know that the ancient language, the symbols, the things that you're talking about, and that most people know existed. But I just look at it like, I could spend a lot of energy trying to break them ancient things down and not live in the present moment. You know what I mean? And not actually deal with the now. And I think a lot of people that deal with the certain, you know, aspects of the things, they get caught in the history of it and they don't live in the present moment. You know what I mean? So I hear a lot of people be like, man, our ancestors, and you know what I mean, our ancestors and things like that. And I'm not again, I'm not knocking nobody that. This is just from my perspective. I'm not knocking you if you feel that way. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be like, our ancestors, who? You know what I mean? How could I validate those people as my ancestors? How can I validate those things? So oftentimes we can spend so much time in the past that we lose out on the present moment. You know what I'm saying? So not like I said, not to switch it, but those things are important because I do understand that somebody had to come up with the English language.
No.
Somebody had to come up with the symbols.
I totally feel you though, because like when I this is my issue, right? When you're dealing with the history is told by the winners and the survivors.
Yep.
And so the winners are gonna make themselves look like heroes.
Exactly.
Survivors gonna make themselves not look like cowards.
Exactly.
Not saying that they was cowards.
But they survived though.
They survived. Still saying
they found a way. Hey, well, however you want to say it. I know what you said.
I ain't trying to call nobody.
I feel you.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly.
You gotta survive.
You gotta make it.
And so there's a lot of people who probably hid under a bush in the middle of a war, and their story is out there about a war that we in history now. In this history.
Exactly. And the thing too, again, back with the language thing, it's about translations. You know what I mean? So when you deal with a history, you know the word his story.
His story.
So again, I have to take it from somebody else's value, or I have to take it from a secondhand perspective. So therefore, it get lost in translation. So now this individual can use these spelling words or these spells, you know what I mean, and give me this history or from his perspective and how he view it, and I'm not getting it from the first hand. So that's why. So that's why I kind of not a primary source. So that's kind of why I got away from the religious aspect of it.
Well, even if it is a primary source, though, it's coming from somebody who might have been a thief, a liar, a crook, a coward.
Exactly.
Anybody, the one who
that
told
translation.
They told the story. It's his story.
Right. So we really don't. That's what I'm saying. So the thing is, like, I often see people debating. It's cool. Like I said, I don't want nobody to feel like something wrong with debating or any of that. It's cool to do all of that, man. You know, if that's what you into. But we can spend, like I say, the present moment is what we have now. All we have is the present moment. So I can't spend the present moment in the past. It's impossible. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be building towards tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the most thing that a lot of our black brothers and black sisters has lost. You know what I'm saying? We can definitely go back until and let me make sure I phrase it right. I don't like the word back, you know, I like forward, but you know what I'm saying? But we can build off of something that we can see. You know what I'm saying? So like yesterday I know existed. Yesterday I may have wrote a rap and didn't record it. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm gonna build off that what I wrote yesterday, and I'm gonna get up today and I'm gonna say I'm gonna go record it. Now today is here, the present moment, I recorded what I wrote yesterday. Now tomorrow when I wake up in the present moment, what I'm gonna do with the song now, I'm gonna put the song out, or I'm gonna find a way to put the song out. You know what I mean? So those things, I think those are the messages that the ancient people really was trying to convey to us. Like, look, we built this, the pyramids here, you know, so we did these things. It took steps for them to get there, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't go back like before the pyramids to say, look, you know what I'm saying? Like they were in the present moment, so we have to get to that perspective or to that point to where we in the present moment now. You know what I mean?
I don't think they was in the future either, because when you consider,
good point.
When you consider it's always the present.
It
except
always
for yesterday.
That's true.
Yesterday, we know yesterday existed, but it's always
but
like
it,
now.
But it is now, though.
Every time you wake up, it's like always now.
It's always now. And so you know you was a kid. I know I was a teenager. But I'm in the moment now. You know what I'm saying? I can't go back to that. You know. So that's the thing. So like I said, I want people to really like start to realize that when you look at like, and this ain't no shot at the Hebrew brothers, because you know. Everybody know I got a video on there. But it ain't no shot at the Hebrew brothers. But you know, if you look at their movement, it's a past movement. You understand what I'm saying? It's an ancient movement. They want
the Egyptians, though. The Egypt,
the Kemetic people, all that. They going backwards though. You know what I'm saying? Like these people were great people, and again, we really don't know because we're in the present moment, so we really don't know if these people were great or not great. But
because they told the story.
Somebody gave us the story. stories. So even from a biblical perspective, if you take the Bible, look, the Bible was written, what, they say 2,000 years ago or more. I'm guessing, I don't know on the top of my head. But if it was, and you today is trying to live off of what they were doing 2,000 years ago,
you wrong.
You can't do it. Like, it was no technology. We actually on the camera now, film it, and it's gonna be uploaded. You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow, whenever you choose to upload it, they didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? So why are we trying to go back and wear fringes and things of that nature? Why are we trying to go back? What the boy Shaka Utmost got a ponytail, looking like what he got, like looking like one of them Egyptian movies. Yeah. Boy, look like a damn fool, man. I ain't trying to take no shot at nobody, but you look.
And then the Hebrews say it's weave in there too.
Yeah, man, it might be. But so he mixing the past with the present moment, because they weren't weaving it back then. At least I don't think they were. They could have been.
I mean, I get the individual style, though. I get the style about being an individual. I get it.
Right, I understand that, but I'm just saying, but it. In the modern time, bro, like I tell people, like even with our language, right, we speak English, and I see a lot of brothers, you know, they go into the Hebrew language. They say we got to learn the Hebrew language and things of that nature. We don't have to learn the Hebrew language, because again, languages is to communicate. So for me to communicate on a basic level with you, all I need to know is English. What up? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna holler at you. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Come and holler at me at 4 o'clock. Let's shoot a video. You know what I mean?
Well,
so
technically, you coming with a sub language of the English language. That's the Ebonics.
Right. That's true though. Yeah. But yeah, that's a sub language. But you understand how we communicate with the sub language. You feel what I'm saying? So my thing is, why am I gonna go to the ancient language? And so they say it's ancient language, and try to learn that, but can't communicate with nobody with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If I'm gonna learn Spanish, I must be talking to people that speak Spanish, or I'm around a bunch of Spanish people, and I want to make sure they ain't calling me a nigga, you know, like, or whatever it may be, or they may not be talking about me behind my back, so I know what they saying. So I'm gonna learn the Spanish language because I'm around a bunch of people that speak that language. So
that's a pretty good point, and it's just not tangible to expect the whole group to go back and learn this language. Hebrew language or Egyptian language or whatever, the meta. Right. And they say it's so important that we learn these things. And I understand the importance of standing on the shoulders of the ancients or your ancestors. I do. Mm-hmm. But the problem is these stories that we don't really
secondhand.
We don't know. Like we really don't know. Even if it's primary story told about, even if it's a primary source,
right?
We don't know the agenda of that source or that particular individual,
right? At
the time, we don't know what if they the ones telling the story. We don't know what.
I think the only way we could get a primary source, in my opinion, is that, you know what I'm saying, it comes straight from the person's mouth.
But you're doing that. We getting that, but we're getting the story from the king. When you talk about ancient Egypt, we getting the story from the king as told by the king.
Okay, how we know that?
Basically,
when you say the king, who the king?
The pharaoh or whatever, or it's told by people who in high positions.
But how we know that though?
How we know that? Because they're not talking about what's going on in the world. They're not talking about the world things. The people of the world, they're talking about things that the presidents of our time will be dealing with. You know what I mean? When you talk about these occult systems, these different the mystery schools and shit that was only for certain groups of people and shit, they wasn't talking about the people. They wasn't talking about the people. They were talking about class.
So you saying the coded language was speaking in the spirit, in a sense, or you saying prophecy? Is that what you saying? They were speaking like things that was gonna come to pass or things that was gonna happen?
No, I'm saying that this is a language that we would consider right now that rich people speak that the regular people don't necessarily speak. Okay. Then when you say rich people speak a different language.
They speak a different lingo. Okay.
I mean, they speak a different
language. What I'm saying is when you say it comes from the pharaoh, I'm just saying, how do we know? Like, how could I verify? Like, let's say I picked up a book. If I picked up a book that said this was by Pharaoh Tootin, whatever. I don't know names like that, but how can I verify that Tootin, whatever, Pharaoh Tootin or whatever, wrote this book or
we can't verify that. We can't verify that.
So that's why I say the only way we can get a primary source is by actually speaking to that individual, or if that actual individual wrote this and it wasn't translated from another source. You know what I'm saying? Like if I let's say Tupac. I'm gonna use, because you know everybody know I'm a Tupac head. So let's say I use Tupac. Tupac wrote Brothers Got a Baby, for example. You know what I'm saying? We can go back and listen to the song we made. We can go back and look at the video. So we know that that's a primary source because we know that that's Tupac in that video.
Right.
We know that that's Tupac. I don't know if he wrote the lyrics because I ain't seen him write the lyrics, but I know he recorded it and he rapped it. You feel what I'm saying? So I can go to that as a primary source. Like, this is the actual individual who actually rapped and recorded this song. So if somebody wrote it down and gave me the lyrics, I can verify it by going back to seeing the actual source.
But even when we're dealing with like the Bible, okay, they don't talk about the average people. They talk about Moses. Who was Moses? Moses lived with the Pharaoh. Moses,
that's true,
was in a whole nother class.
Right.
And it was about what he had to do to do some things. And this is he not the average person.
Right.
Moses just not your everyday guy.
Right. And the
back
thing
in
is,
those days.
And the thing is, with Moses, we don't know if actual Moses existed.
But that's not the point.
But
it's about the
story.
Class. The story being told is coming from the upper echelons of the people.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay. I got what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. It don't even matter if the story real or not.
Okay. I got what you're saying. I got you.
It's about, goddamn it, who they talking about? Jesus. Who was Jesus? The Son of God.
All right.
It don't get no higher than that. You know what I mean? Other than God himself, right? If it's the case.
I got what you're saying. Yeah.
That's what they talk about. So what about Joe Blow that was back in the days?
Right.
We don't hear his story.
We don't know about Joe Blow.
We don't hear his story. Did Joe Blow believe in Jesus?
Right. That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like based on the story, did Joe Blow follow Moses?
But see, this the thing though. Okay, so let's say the Bible in a sense was written to be a book of like a psychology book or whatever, and it was written from our perspective to identify ourselves and the things that we go through. Like I said in one of the previous videos that we chopped it up on. So if Moses represents you. Let's say, you go through the tribulations and you enslaved. Let's say we working jobs right now. So we enslaved and we trying to become free from the jobs that we working, right? Mm-hmm. So now how do we do that? We have to find a way to build certain things to get up out of that slavery or the slavery that we in. It's called a 9-to-5 job. Mm-hmm. So now we need to find the elements and things that we need to put together to come out of there. That's parting the Red Sea and going into the Promised Land. What's the Promised Land? The Promised Land is coming up out of bondage. So we want to get out of bondage. So if we look at the story from that perspective, as far as the translation go, now we could apply it to the present moment. You feel what I'm saying? But if I'm looking at the story from somebody else giving me the perspective, and I'm viewing Moses as an individual who went through all these things, then I began to look in the past and start worshiping this individual. Mm-hmm. But if I take that story and apply it to my life, it has more validity because it's actually in the present moment.
Yeah,
you
but Moses wasn't in bondage. Moses put himself.
Well, that's true. Well,
in the position.
He wasn't in the. I mean, he was a quote unquote Hebrew or Israelite in the sense that was in Egypt. You know what I mean? And he didn't have his own, or his people. They didn't have their own land, or they didn't have their place that they can call home.
But he didn't know who he was at first, right? So he grew up in the king's palace.
Yeah.
And he grew up in.
He was all in the ways of the Egyptians. So I mean,
then all of a sudden, somebody told him, "Man, you one of us." And then, well, I guess without no research, he just believed that. They didn't explain how he came to believe why he believed he.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
But
that's a good point on the surface of how the story is written.
You know what I mean? What I'm saying? They didn't explain the transition as to why he even believed that he was one of them when they all looked the same. He looked like the Egyptians, motherfucker. How am I one of you? Why we ain't one of them?
Exactly.
I mean, and I'm royal, and so now. You know what I mean?
Good point. And he spoke their lingo. He understood.
You got this rich man that decided to come down off his high horse.
Yeah.
And help these poor people. Now we don't hear from the poor people. We just hear from the story from the rich man. But and then when he leave them for 40 days, the poor people go to doing what the fuck poor people do. You know what I'm saying?
And then when the nigga come back, the nigga face shining, and the nigga got to throw a face mask.
If you have questions that you would like to ask the streets, contact us at askthestreetsmedia@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.